Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're doing episode number 31 of I Build Your Teams, the series where I build my viewers' teams into the best teams possible for my team unlimited and/or competitive play based on how much MT they have and what their squad is currently looking like. Before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 11,000 subscriber mark on the channel. We're less than 50 subscribers away. Would love to hit that mark within the next day or two, and I would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. But without further ado, let's hop right into it. First team today comes in from Rye Guy. He's got 500,000 MT, says he mainly plays co-op, so he's thinking about spending on a guy like Tim Thomas or T-Mac. 500k isn't enough for T-Mac, I will say that. You're not really gonna be able to get him, I don't think. Tim Thomas, maybe. Me personally, I don't know. I think a guy like Steve Smith is great for co-op. I think Danny Ferry is really good for co-op. I think maybe I would, even a Kevin Porter Jr. is a really good fun co-op card. Great 3 hunter. Hito, same thing. I would maybe build the team out just a little bit more with a couple of budget guys. You can still maintain a lot of your MT, but for example, I would probably pick up a guy like Peter Goodmanson, play him at the starting 5, Hakeem is your starting 4, maybe bring Dino and Mobamba off the bench, or even go like something like Dino and Arvidas Sabonis off the bench and sell Mobamba. Something like that for me, I just think gives your lineup a little bit more size for when you do play other modes than co-op. Outside of that, I mean, Shane Battier over Mike Miller is probably an upgrade I'd make. Mike Miller's really good, but I think Shane Battier is legitimately one of the best shooting guards in the game, especially for his price. He's incredibly cheap. I mean, Mike Miller's really good as well, but Shane Battier I think is kind of next level. I mean, this team, I do like it a lot, though, I will say. I think if you pick up a guy like Peter, maybe another big and Sabonis, then you can save some MT, potentially work towards getting a guy like Tim Thomas if you do want him for co-op as well. That is not a bad idea. Second squad today comes in from Anthony. He's got 300,000 MT. This dude has a heck of a team, a lot of top-tier cards. Guys like T-Mac, Bol, Taco, Yao, Penny Hardaway, I don't love, but Hito, Big Z, AK, Dikembe, and Arvidas Sabonis with Kyle Kuzma, Ben Simmons, Mo Bamba wrapping off the bench. Anthony's a guy who I know has a lot of cards as well. He's like a collector, I think, or at least has been in previous years. So I'm assuming he has a lot of cards in his collection. For me personally, I think there's 2 guys that you should be targeting to pick up for your team, in my opinion. Now, I would sell a bunch of guys. I would sell Penny, I'd sell Kuzma, I'd sell Ben, I'd sell Mobamba, I'd sell one of Big, probably not Big Z. I'd probably sell one of AK or Big Z, though, kind of up to you, but I'd probably choose AK to sell. And then I would pick up Luka Doncic. I would move T-Mac to the bench shooting guard. I would move Big Z or AK, whoever you prefer, to the backup small forward. And then I would continue to sell some stuff and get Kevin Garnett. So you could run a lineup, or you could go Tim Thomas as well, either one. So you could run a lineup of Luka, Tim or KG, Bol, Taco, Yao. And then off the bench, you'd have something like Hito, T-Mac, Big Z or AK, Dikembe, Sabonis. I think that team right there is absolutely incredible. I do think that's going to be a little bit tough to get both of those guys, Luka and Tim Thomas, because that's going to cost you around $1 million MT, maybe even a little bit more. But I think between selling Penny, selling Ben, and selling some other stuff in your collection, you can get close to that, and that'll give you close to the best 10 men that you can build right now. Next squad today comes in from Luke. This is a team that is going to be tough to do upgrades on because you only have 15,000 MT, but I like this squad a lot as a budget team. I think a lot of great budget cards have come out recently. I like that he's got 2 big centers in Peter and Sabonis, good solid power forwards in Mo Bamba and DeMarcus Cousins, Kyle Kuzma, Anton Jameson, Shane Battier, Isaac Bonga, Kevin Porter Jr., and Mike Miller as well. Really, really solid budget team all the way around. This is the type of team that you can't really upgrade a ton right now with only 15,000 MT. So that's something, what I'm going to recommend for you is that I would recommend grinding to try to get a guy like Alonzo Mourning. That's probably my main recommendation, is to try to grind for him as an RNG card. Grind some game modes as well where you can make some more MT. Things like Unlimited where you can sell a lot of stuff, get packs, stuff like that. Try to make some more MT because you're not really going to be able to make more upgrades right now with the type of team that you have. Just make sure you're not buying packs. Save some MT. See if you can save to where you can get a guy like a Hito Turkoglu potentially. Maybe upgrade Kyle Kuzma to his hero version. You could maybe another small forward like Andre Karolinko, who's not super expensive anymore. If you can get to where you can buy some of those 40, 50, 60,000 MT cards and just start making small upgrades on your team because you already have a really nice budget squad, that's what I'm going to recommend for you. But I like the way you have yourself a really nice budget squad built. Next squad today comes in from Mambi. He's got 156k. Actually, I think this dude reposted again, and I think he's got a lot more than, yes, okay, 700,000 MT. I was right. I don't know where his MT came from, but shout out to you. Ben Simmons, Big Z, Giannis, Taco, Hakeem, Luke Walton, Glenn Rice, Jonathan Bender, Joel Embiid, and Peter. All right. Taco Hakeem, I think, is a great front court. I don't like this Embiid card at all, but Peter is good. Giannis, I'm not a huge fan of. That's just my opinion. I would sell him and pick up Andre Karolinko immediately. That's an easy swap for me. Ben Simmons, Big Z, I would probably go get Hito Turkoglu and this is tough. I don't know, because I think 700,000 MT isn't enough to really buy one of the top shooting guards, and you don't have a guy like Steve Smith. Maybe you keep Big Z at the 2, you run AK at the 3, and you go get yourself, and I know it's expensive, but a guy like Luka Doncic, I know he's expensive. He's the best point guard in the game, and he's a legit in-game point guard. Sell Ben, sell Giannis. That'll make you a solid chunk of MT right there. Go get yourself a Luka. Run him next to Big Z, AK, Taco, and Hakeem. Off the bench, just swap out Luke Walton for Isaac Bonga, regular Hito, Kevin Porter Jr. Really, one of any of those 3 guys I think is going to be an awesome option. Maybe you go Hito would be my recommendation personally, because he's got the size next to a guy like Glenn Rice who's a little bit smaller. And then I'm totally cool with Jonathan Bender at the backup 3. You do need another backup 4. Not entirely sure who I'd recommend you get. There are a lot of budget options. Let me just look and see real quickly who I would probably pick up. Oh, I know who I'd pick up. Easy choice right here. Go get a Marc Gasol. That's a super easy one right there. Honestly, I'd start Marc Gasol at the 5, and I'd bring Hakeem off the bench at the backup 4, actually. That's the last upgrade. And I know that's a lot of changes, so I'm going to read out the 10-man that I do again. It's Luka, Big Z, AK, Taco, Marc Gasol off the bench, one of Bonga, KPJ, or Hito with Glenn Rice. Probably Hito, by the way. With Glenn Rice, Bender, Hakeem, and Peter. That 10-man right there is what I'd run for this squad. Third to last team today comes in from Wayne. He's got 530,000 MT. T-Mac is unauctionable, open to any changes. KPJ, Hito, Tim, Terry, T-Mac, Bull, Bosch, Taco, Arvidas, and Marc Gasol. All right, first things first. Start Marc Gasol over Arvidas so you have a 7'3" guy off the bench. Gives you a little more size off your bench. Also, I think Marc Gasol is a better card than Arvidas, especially since you're starting him next to Taco. That's the first thing. Just swap those 2 guys. Totally cool with that. I do think Bosch, since you have him locked in for Terry, I'm totally cool with him staying as your backup power forward. I will say this. Terry and T-Mac are best at the 2. I think, as good as Tim Thomas is, I think it's worth selling him because you do have the 2 other best shooting guards in the game in Terry and T-Mac. I'd start T-Mac at the 2, bring Terry off the bench, or vice versa if you prefer Terry. That's what I would do. I would also sell KPJ and buy Luka Doncic. Between selling Tim and selling KPJ, you're going to get the value that Luka has. So you can pick up Luka, and then you'll have something like Luka, T-Mac, Hito, Terry would probably be what I'd recommend. Or maybe even you go a guy like Jokic. If you since you have ball handlers in Terry and T-Mac who can start and come off the bench, maybe you go with a guy like Jokic. You could go Jokic, T-Mac, and you could go Hito, Terry off the bench. Then you're going to need a 3. Big Z, Arvidas, Big Z, or Andre Karolinko would be my upgrade there. So something along the lines of either Luka or Jokic, T-Mac, Bull, Taco, Marc Gasol, Hito, other player between Terry and T-Mac, AK or Big Z, Bosch, and Arvidas Sabonis is the 10-man that I'd run with this squad. Second last team comes in from Jason. He says these cards are all unauctionable, 1.1 million of T. Big Z is a must pickup. All right, Sean Livingston, Glenn Rice, Danny Ferry, Purvis Ellison, Bill Russell, Hakeem. All right, I'm going to pull up 2KDB because I'm going to make a few changes with this team. I'm not sure if Ferry or Purvis are going to stay. One of those 2 might leave the lineup, but I think for now, just to save you some T, we're going to go with Tito because he's an absolute beast, not super expensive. Do you have any auctionable 2s or unauctionable? Okay, so Glenn Rice was an unauctionable 2. I think paying for an auctionable 2 would be good. The problem is most of the unauctionable 2s are really expensive. Maybe the base Tim Thomas is worth the price, maybe not. That's kind of a decision you're going to have to make yourself. Bill Russell at the 3, Marc Gasol at the 4, Peter at the 5. Whoever you prefer between Purvis and Ferry, which I guess since you're starting Purvis, you prefer him, but if you prefer Ferry, you could go Ferry instead. Hakeem at the backup 4, and Arvidas Sabonis at the backup 5. Something like this is probably the team that I'd recommend you build. Based on the squad you already have, the 1.1 million. Oh, you said Big Z's a must pick up. Okay, so if you're going to pick up Big Z, we'll throw him in here, actually, because Purvis is a solid secondary ball handler. Sean Livingston's a great starting ball handler. Something like this. If you want to pick up Big Z as well, we'll throw in this type of team. I really like this squad a lot, and I think you do have enough MT, considering the only 2 really expensive purchases you've been making are Tim and Big Z, and even Big Z's not that expensive anymore. It's really just Tim. You have enough MT to make that work, and I think that's a huge upgrade over this squad right here. Last team today comes in from 1003. He's got 8,000 MT. It might sell Kuzma and Sabonis. Not sure who he'd get. This is another really nice budget team. Hito, KPJ, Shane Battier, Mike Miller, AK, Kyle Kuzma, Hakeem, Dino, Peter, and Sabonis. This is another team, in all honesty, though, where I'd say your best bet is more so just to grind the game, because I don't think you're going to be able to make significant upgrades with the amount of MT you have. Even if you do sell guys like Kuzma and Sabonis, you're going to get yourself up to, what, 50, 60,000 MT max, something like that. I don't think there's another auctionable center, especially, who can really compete at the level that Sabonis can for that price point. So I don't think that selling Sabonis is going to be a very good idea. Even the heroic version that you have, that's not the hero version, I still don't think that's going to be a very good idea. Kuzma could eventually be upgraded to the hero version or something like that if you wanted, or even to a guy like Jonathan Bender if you want to go with somebody with more size. If you can eventually try to save some MT, one guy I would recommend potentially saving MT for, and if you were to sell these two guys, the one guy that I would buy would be Marc Gasol, because I think Marc Gasol is incredible. I think he's legitimately a top 5 center in the game. Another guy who I'd recommend again, though, grinding for is Alonzo Mourning. I think he's a huge upgrade. If you have a guy like Purvis Ellison, Danny Ferry, Mike Bantam, any of those guys from previous seasons, RNG, slide that guy into the small forward position as well if you sell Kuzma, but I'm not sure you have in terms of unauctionable players. Your guards are fine, your power forwards are good. If you can get a guy like Marc Gasol, that would be a big upgrade, but outside of that, I don't think you have a ton of options for upgrading with the amount of MT you have, unless you get lucky with RNG with Alonzo Mourning, or can save a little bit of MT and get Marc Gasol. But that is the last team in today's video. I hope y'all did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.